Chicago was dressed in its usual late fall shimmer. Wet sidewalks reflecting neon, a bite in the air, and the kind of darkness that doesn't just settle, but seeps into the bones. I sat inside Craig's car, parked half a block away for Barlett's, the rooftop restaurant she adored. She always said the city looked honest from up there, like it had nothing left to hide. Ironic, really. The envelope was in my hand. Heavy, not with paper, but with the weight of choice. It was unsealed. That part mattered. Letting her open it in front of a crowd wasn't just strategy, it was truth unwrapped. I'd gone over this moment 100 times. There was no rage left, no shakiness. Just clarity. Craig's guy, a discreet camera operator with a theater kid's sense of framing, had already set up at a far table. Clean angle of her and the man across from her. Not her co-worker, not her old friend from college. No, he was the man I'd seen her with outside the Hilton 3 weeks ago. The one who touched her lower back like it belonged to him. The one who laughed like he had nothing to lose. Tonight was not about exposure for sport. It was about conclusion. I watched from the window as she arrived, her red silk dress catching just enough attention. Hair curled soft at the shoulders. She still looked like the woman I married. Beautiful, composed, magnetic. But underneath the fabric was someone else. A stranger who'd built a secret second life behind my back while sleeping in my bed. She sat with him like they'd done it 100 times. She smiled in that rehearsed way. Not the one she used to give me in the kitchen while we burned pancakes on Sunday mornings. This one was polished. Performed. At exactly 8:10 p.m., Max, the waiter Craig had prepped, approached with the envelope. Tucked between the menus, delivered with a practiced hand. She reached for it absently at first, chatting, sipping her wine. Then she paused, her brow furrowed. "What's this?" she asked. The man shrugged. She slid her finger under the flap, pulled out the contents. Her hand stopped mid-turn of the page. Then she read, and read again. Everything changed in her face. Her cheeks flushed, jaw clenched. Her voice cracked next. "Where did this come from? Who gave this to you?" Max replied, cool as ice. "It was arranged with the manager." And that was it. The moment started a fray. Her tone sharpened. "Jack, is this you? Are you here?" She shouted it into the dining room, enough to hush the buzz of casual conversations. Heads turned. A couple tried not to stare, but their phones were already filming. The lover reached to calm her, a hand on her arm. She slapped it away. The wine glass tipped, red spilling across white linen like a wound torn open. "Jack!" she screamed again, her voice breaking under its own weight. She stood, grabbed the envelope, jammed it into her purse, and stormed toward the stairs. Her heels caught on the last step, and she nearly fell. He followed behind like a shadow, careful not to look too attached. His face wasn't concern, it was fear. Not for her, but for himself. For what might come next. Craig's guy kept filming until they vanished below. And then silence. The restaurant tried to breathe again, guests murmuring like a stage audience after a curtain falls too soon. But the damage was done. Not just to her pride, not just to their little affair. To the image she'd curated. Perfect wife, perfect woman, adored and admired in public. That mask cracked in real time. She had toasted lies. I had sent the check. Back home, I didn't pour a drink. I didn't pace. I didn't even turn the lights all the way on. I sat in the kitchen, the glow of my laptop casting just enough light to make the world feel real again. The video was already in my inbox. Craig didn't waste time. I clicked play. Not for satisfaction. For confirmation. The footage rolled silently at first. High angle, clean frame, perfect resolution. There she was, laughing. Her smile was wide, easy. She touched her hair in that absent-minded way she always did when she wanted someone to look. Across from her, he leaned in, charmed. No signs of guilt. No fear of being seen. Then, the envelope. I watched her open it again. Saw the shift in her posture, the tremor in her hand as she read. The confusion, the realization, the collapse. There's something about watching someone fall apart from the outside. Not with malice, but with finality. Like watching glass shatter in slow motion. Beautiful. Tragic. Inevitable. She called my name. Loud. Twice. "Jack, are you here?" That moment, I paused it. Not because I needed to replay it, because I didn't. I'd already memorized every second. She didn't come home that night. I didn't expect her to. A woman like Lauren doesn't retreat out of guilt. She retreats to strategize, to rewrite the narrative, to spin embarrassment into betrayal. She'd find a way to make herself the victim, cry confusion, blame pressure, frame it all as a misunderstanding. But she couldn't unspill the wine, couldn't unsay my name in a room full of strangers, couldn't undo the footage, now circling quietly through the veins of the city. The next morning, I was brushing my teeth when my phone buzzed. Craig again. Footage is circulating. 3 different angles now. Diners caught it from their phones. One uploaded it to a private Facebook group we track. Caption says, "This woman just got served divorce papers mid-dinner." Wait for it. I opened the link. This wasn't our clean, cinematic version. This was raw, jittery, real. Someone across the terrace had caught the exact moment she shouted my name. The envelope, the scream, the wine spill, her lover looking like he wanted to disappear under the table. A tray dropping in the background. Gasps, whispers, the sound of lives shifting mid-meal. It already had thousands of views. No hashtags, no drama post, just private shares, direct messages, quiet combustion. It was perfect, not because of the attention, because of the reach. I started getting messages. Not gossip, not mockery, just quiet check-ins from people who knew both of us. "Hey, saw something. Just wanted to ask if you're okay. I think I saw Lauren in a video. I'm sorry, Mom. You handle that with class." I didn't reply to any of them. Didn't need to. Truth doesn't need applause. By evening, she finally broke her silence. Missed call, then a string of texts. "We need to talk. I don't know what you think you saw, but it's not what it looked like. Can we at least speak like adults?" I didn't answer. Instead, I watched the footage one more time. Just a moment where she said my name like she expected me to appear, dramatic, angry, heartbroken. But I wasn't in that restaurant for confrontation. I was in the envelope, in the silence that followed. Later that night, Craig sent me the final cut. Full res. Audio clienit. Stabilized. No commentary. Just proof. I downloaded it in 3 places: hard drive, secure cloud, attorney server. I labeled the folder, closure. Then I stood, walked upstairs, and started packing. Not with fury, with precision. I began on her side of the closet. Dresses, heels, accessories, all of it folded, box stored. I didn't tear things. I didn't slam drawers. I didn't leave a trace of chaos. I erased her, quietly. I cleared her perfume bottles off the dresser. Took down the photo of us from the Paris trip and replaced it with nothing. Just blank space. I logged into the bank app, canceled her cards, changed the passwords to the streaming services, closed our shared credit account. It wasn't spite. It was administration. She had made her choices. Now I was making mine. I left one note, taped to her mirror. "You made your choice. This was mine." And that was it. She didn't come home for 3 days. No calls, no texts, just silence, the kind that fills a house after a storm. No trace of her perfume on the stairs. No familiar creak of the bathroom door. Just absence and peace. When she finally returned, I wasn't there. I had made sure of that. I'd left early, gone to work, finished errands, signed a few documents at the attorney's office. Nothing dramatic, just the architecture of endings. Everything had been prepared for this moment. Her keys still worked, but almost nothing else did. The credit cards? Canceled. Her name on the joint accounts? Removed. The walk-in closet, her overflow space? Cleared out. Family pictures? Gone. Tossed. All that remained was a silent house, clean walls, and a note on the vanity. "You made your choice. This was mine." Craig had someone swing by to observe, not to spy, but to ensure she didn't take what wasn't hers. He told me later, she stood in the bedroom for a long time, didn't touch a thing, just looked, walked once around the closet like a stranger, trying to remember who used to live there. Then she left, didn't even close the door behind her. That night, I came home to stillness, not the kind that echoes sadness, the kind that breathes freedom. The last thing she left was a scarf. Red silk, the one she wore the night the envelope landed like a grenade between the wine glasses. I folded it carefully, not out of affection, just completion. Dropped it in a donation bag and moved on. That weekend, I changed the locks. Called the bank. Removed her name as beneficiary. Filed the final version of the divorce petition. The one Craig had helped draft months ago when my gut knew what my heart refused to say aloud. She'd said she loved me with the same lips she used to lie. She'd kissed me goodbye in the morning and whispered hello to him at night. But the delivery had been elegant. The documents were ironclad. The evidence was stored and dated. There was nothing left to discuss. Then came the emails and the texts. At first, pure rage. You humiliated me in public. You destroyed everything. Are you proud? You blindsided me like a coward. Then came the confusion. Jack, let's talk. One conversation. That's all I ask. You owe me that. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. And finally, desperation. Please. I made a mistake. Can't we undo this? I still love you. Doesn't that count for anything? No replies. I wasn't interested in postscripts. Love is not a defense when betrayal is intentional. She showed up again, this time outside my office. No makeup, no high heels, no performance. Just Lauren. Small, shaken. She scanned the lobby like a soldier coming back from a war she started and couldn't finish. Security stopped her at the desk. They asked me what I wanted them to do. Escort her out. Should we tell her anything? Oh no. She already knows. They said she cried when they walked her out. But I didn't come down. I'd seen enough tears. The real ones, the fake ones, and the ones she reserved for herself. I went back to my desk, answered emails, and finished my coffee. By the time Monday turned into the next weekend, the footage had traveled. Not viral. Not public. Worse. Private. It slipped like wildfire through group chats, whispered exchanges at brunch tables, quiet DMs among people who once called us perfect. Her unraveling didn't need 1,000,000 views, just the right 100. Former classmates, work friends, her Pilates group, my colleagues, people who knew both of us, people who now knew her. Lauren, in the red dress, screaming my name with mascara streaked and hands trembling. In the letter, the way she read it aloud, the crack in her voice as the truth came crashing in, plate by plate, breath by breath. I never posted it, never even hinted at it. Truth has legs. Lies only heels. I sat back and let the silence do what words never could. She left me a voicemail that Sunday night. Her voice broke halfway through. That familiar tremble I once thought meant sincerity. I listened once and never again. I keep waking up hoping this is a dream. You're my husband. You're supposed to fight for us. But she had it all backward. I had fought. I fought through suspicions, through late-night doubts and gaslight mornings, through every smile she gave him while telling me I was imagining things. But you don't keep swinging in a one-sided war. You leave. You rebuild. You reclaim. So that's what I did. A month later, I made a dinner reservation. One seat, same restaurant, same rooftop, different man. I didn't go to provoke. I didn't go to haunt. I went to reclaim. Bartlett's hadn't changed. The terrace still hummed with soft laughter, clinking glasses, and overhead fairy lights twinkling like a sky trying too hard. The hostess glanced at my name. Recognition flickered, but she said nothing. Good. A different waiter led me to the same corner table, the one that had seen the fall of a marriage dressed in velvet betrayal. I sat down, ordered a steak, medium rare, and a glass of the house red. No envelope, no script, just silence and a sunset. People think healing is some grand cinematic explosion. Tears in the rain, screams in empty rooms, a sudden rush of freedom. But sometimes healing is just sitting exactly where the pain happened and feeling absolutely nothing. No chit, no longing, just breath, just peace. Midway through dinner, I glanced up. Same skyline, same golden haze, but no weight in my chest, no phantom memory in the seat across from me. She was gone. And so was the version of me that tolerated becoming invisible in his own marriage. I raised my glass, not in celebration, not in spite, but in quiet acknowledgement of endings, of survival, of truth. I paid the check, left a generous tip, and walked out without a backward glance. When I got home that night, there was another email. This one longer. No angel, no bargaining, just a soft kind of sadness. I keep seeing you in places I go. Not physically, just the idea of you. I don't expect forgiveness. But I want you to know I never stopped loving you. I was just too stupid to see what I had until it wasn't mine anymore. I didn't reply. She was right. She had loved me in the way some people love stability until they mistake chaos for excitement. And I had loved her in a way that bends until it breaks. Love doesn't erase betrayal. It just makes the bruise deeper. A few days later, Craig messaged me again. One of your mutuals posted the restaurant video on a cheater's exposed forum. The comments are brutal. She's getting roasted. I didn't ask to see it. What good would that do? This was no longer about revenge. That part had passed. This was about the after, the silence that follows the storm, the rebuild, the peace. She had wanted control. She got chaos. She had wanted power. She got absence. And now she was screaming into a void I refused to fill. The days that followed were quiet. Not the kind of quiet that begs to be broken, but the kind that settles into your bones. The kind that whispers, "You're free now." Lauren still tried. Emails became letters. Letters turned into flowers delivered to my office. Always without a card, but always from her. One bouquet had a ribbon in red silk. I didn't even flinch. My assistant asked if I wanted to return them. No, I said, just toss them. One morning, I came down to find an envelope slid under my door. Her handwriting, shaky, maybe even hopeful. I didn't open it. Not out of cruelty, but out of clarity. She had already said everything when she chose someone else's table, someone else's touch. There was nothing left for her to write. I walked it straight to the shredder. Some memories don't belong in boxes. They belong in pieces. A few weeks later, I received an email from my lawyer. Her attorneys requested a meeting. She wanted to settle quickly. No contest. Clean break. She didn't want to drag it through court. She didn't want more exposure. She just wanted out. Maybe she thought surrender was grace. But it was just reality. She had fought the wrong war. And now, she was surrendering to the silence she once filled with lies. On the day the papers were finalized, I went for a walk. No destination. No agenda. Just the sound of my own footsteps on pavement that didn't feel heavy anymore. I passed the bookstore she used to drag me into. Paused. Inside, a couple laughed by the travel section. The woman leaned into the man's shoulder. It used to be us. Or what I thought was us. Now I saw it clearly. That version had cracks from the start. Smiles that hid things. Touches that didn't linger long enough. I turned away and walked on. Later that week, I boxed up the last of her things. Found a pair of earrings behind the nightstand. Tiny pearls. Probably expensive. I dropped them into a Ziploc bag and left them at the concierge. No note. Just her name. She could pick them up or not. Either way, it was done. The last time I heard from her was on a Wednesday evening. A voicemail. Her voice was smaller this time. Not broken, just hollow. I saw you today. You didn't see me. You looked peaceful. I guess I just wanted to hear your voice one last time, even if you wouldn't answer. I'm sorry. I don't expect anything. I just needed to say that. I didn't respond. Some stories don't need an epilogue. Some doors stay closed for a reason. A month passed. Then two. Seasons began to shift. The air carried that early spring softness, like something new was quietly waiting. I found myself smiling at small things again. Fresh coffee. Open windows. A playlist y furvot y luva. Freedom has a flavor. Not sweet, but clean. One evening, I walked past Bartlett's again. This time, I didn't stop. Didn't look up. Didn't need to. What needed to happen, there had already been written, filmed, lived. That rooftop wasn't my ending. It was just the start of my truth. I began seeing someone months later. Slowly. Carefully. No secrets. No shadows. No performances. We laughed often. Talked like we were building something, not hiding inside it. She asked once if I'd ever been married. I nodded. Long time ago. She chose someone else. I chose peace. She didn't press. That's how I knew it was real. And Lauren? She faded the way echoes do. Louder at first, then quieter, then gone. Her red dress, her voice, her screams on that rooftop, all distant now. A storm that passed. I didn't need revenge. Didn't need sympathy. I had something better. Freedom. Subscribe and stay one step ahead of cheaters. Because some stories don't end in heartbreak. They end in clarity. And sometimes, that's the greatest closure of all.